These are the most incredible and terrifying animatronic dinosaurs we've ever covered. Join us in this compilation that kicks off a brand new series we're working on all about dinosaur animatronics. If you have a suggestion, drop it in the comments, and if you want a part 2, leave us a dinosaur emoji. Let's dive in.
Like always, quack.
Bad news. The plushie sale isn't going as we hoped. We're only at 10% of pre-orders and there are just 9 days left, so it's very likely the crowdfunding won't make it. If you love the channel and want the plushie, now's the time to get it. And if you already ordered, thank you so much. Links in the description.
Directed by Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel, this movie was loosely based on Mario Bros. And when we say loosely, we really mean loosely. The characters have nothing to do with the ones from the video game, and for many people, this movie is a complete disaster. But since it was released, it has slowly gained a huge fan base that considers it a cult classic. Among the characters in the film, we find Yoshi. But instead of being a cute cartoon green dinosaur, Yoshi is brought to life as a realistic but small T-Rex animatronic. This animatronic was designed by Dave Nelson, who had previously worked in Child's Play and many other Stan Winston movies. At the time, this animatronic was one of the most advanced of its kind. To be able to move it, 9 puppeteers were involved. The animatronic was so impressive and well made that there were some Yoshi scenes added to the movie, so the animatronic would have more time on camera. We couldn't help but wonder where this animatronic ended up, and we're happy to report that after shooting the movie, Dave Nelson kept it. It was even reskinned and reused for a McDonald's commercial. Nowadays, it is in perfect condition at Dave Nelson's studio. If you want to know more about the production of the movie and this animatronic, go to smbmovie.com. We will leave a link in the description. Walking with Dinosaur Dinos. In July 2018, something unexpected happened in the BBC headquarters. A giant animatronic appeared walking and snooping around. This amazing animatronic was there to promote the Walking with Dinosaurs The Arena Spectacular Tour. This show was created by the Creature Technology Company, and the production for it cost $20 million. This show uses animatronics and puppets to give life to 16 different types of dinosaurs, and it is based on the documentary television miniseries Walking with Dinosaurs. This show is the closest that a human will ever be to having an encounter with a live dinosaur. These dinosaurs move across the stage as if they were real, but how do they work? Well, they're a mix between a puppet and an animatronic. To be able to control the biggest dinosaurs, at least 3 people are needed. The first person is hidden in the base of the dinosaur. They drive the animatronic and monitor the hydraulics and batteries. The other 2 are the voodoo puppeteers. Their job is to move the dinosaur. One of them is in charge of the main movements, like the tail or the neck, while the other is in charge of the secondary movements, like blinking or the mouth, and also manages sound effects. For the smaller dinosaurs, the process is different. They are puppets, so they only need 1 performer inside the dinosaur. There are no voodoo puppeteers, so the person inside handles all of the dinosaur's movements, and they have to train a lot because the suit weighs about 88 pounds. This is one of the best shows in the world, but it can be pretty terrifying, especially when you're face to face with a full-size T-Rex. Iguanodon. Location: Discovery River at Disney's Animal Kingdom. When Disney's Animal Kingdom opened in 1998, the park offered only 2 noteworthy attractions, the headlining Kilimanjaro safaris and the terrifying Countdown to Extinction. In the latter, guests would board EMV time rovers to leap back to the last moments of the Cretaceous, tasked with saving an iguanodon from the brink of extinction and returning it to the Dino Institute for study. Of course, the park also contained the Discovery River boats. To Disney's thinking, this simple boat-based ride would simply shuttle guests from the park's entry oasis to Asia, easing walking requirements for the large park. Along the way, the boats would sail past simple vignettes meant as teasers for what each of the park's lands would offer, like a goat exhibit and geysers in Africa, and a fire-breathing dragon near Camp Mickey Minnie, meant to hint at the Beastly Kingdom. Along the shores of Dinoland, guests would find a playful iguanodon, splashing along the shores of the Discovery River, as if the dinosaur folks had rescued aboard Countdown to Extinction had escaped. The connection was cute and helped expand the world of the ride to a deeper continuity, connecting the rest of Dinoland to its story. But unfortunately, the Discovery River boats garnered multi-hour waits from guests expecting a Jungle Cruise-style experience, especially with only 2 other rides in the park, inevitably leading to disappointment. By the park's first autumn, the ride was renamed Discovery River Taxi to emphasize its functional role, but it wasn't enough. In March 1999, before its first birthday, the ride lost its riverside scenes and became the Radio Disney River Cruise before closing forever that November.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe.
The Disneyland Railroad is another opening day attraction, though this section of the track was later recycled from the dinosaur section of the Ford Magic Skyway, an attraction that was featured at the 1964 World's Fair, and later inspired the, unfortunately now defunct, Universe of Energy at Epcot. These dinos are so cool, with their bright colors and placed in a gorgeous diorama full of beautiful forestry and a striking painting behind. This is another attraction, or at least this section of the attraction, is often overlooked by casual visitors who do not bother to take the entire train's loop around the park, and that most people use the train simply as a mode of transportation. Though we here at Fastpass Facts regard this as more than just transportation. These dinosaurs based on scale alone are impressive, but the small details like the ornithomimus dipping its head into the water to drink and splashing up slightly, the smoke surrounding the Brontosaurus's necks, making them seem taller than they are details that most people don't even get to see. We give these prehistoric pals a 7 out of 10.
Dino Splash, Plopsaland Park. This next entry was suggested by Gavin Lenoy. Thank you for giving us more nightmare fuel. Let's take a look. In 1935, Melly Park opened in Depan, Belgium, as a place where Albrecht Joseph Florazoon could sell his home-produced honey and also teach visitors about the process and the honeybee itself. But through the years, the park began opening several attractions and became a full theme park. The family sold the park in 1999 to Studio 100, and with this, it received a makeover, reopening as Plopsaland in April 2000. And nowadays, the park has 55 attractions, including 7 roller coasters. One of these attractions is Dino Splash. Dino Splash opened in 1989 as Splash. When it opened, it did not have much theming except for being built around a medieval castle, and it had several name changes in its history. But the biggest change came in 2019, when it was completely renovated to have a dinosaur theme. This new ride was named Dino Splash. The attraction is one of the largest of its kind in Europe, both in length and height, and has 2 drops. The first is about 5 meters high. The second is the largest and happens in 2 steps, and the whole story revolves around dinosaurs, so you get to see several dinosaurs throughout the ride. This renovation was fantastic, and the ride looks amazing, but being a log flume ride and mixing water with dinosaur figures, it was bound to have some submechanophobia involved in it. We start with a mild one with this Brachiosaurus, eating some leaves off a tree while standing in water. The figure is not that submerged, but you can see its feet are a little submerged. But the star of the show is the Pliosaurus. You see him just after the first drop, where you encounter the T-Rex. This creature spits water at the logs passing by, and if you look closely, you will see that its fins are completely underwater. The way the murky water changes the fins' colors is pretty creepy, and sometimes the water that surrounds it is full of plants, so knowing that its mechanisms are below all of that makes it even more terrifying for some people. There's other times where the water is below the figure, so it's only the dinosaur's mechanisms that are underwater. We don't know what's worse. What do you think about this dinosaur? Animatronic dinosaurs on fire. It seems there is a pattern between animatronic dinosaurs and fire, because the Diplodocus isn't the only animatronic to meet a fiery end. Back in 2016, the Field Station Dinosaurs exhibit was set to open at Overpeck County Park in New Jersey. This exhibit featured over 30 moving and roaring life-size animatronic dinosaurs, including a 90-foot-long Gigantosaurus animatronic, believed to be the largest in the world. But before the exhibit opened, a welder was putting the finishing touches on the dinosaur when a spark set it ablaze and burnt the entire animatronic to the ground. Thankfully, no other animatronics were damaged. Some rumors said this dinosaur would be built again, but this never happened, and instead, a Spinosaurus took its place. 1,600 miles away in Waco, Texas, a very similar thing happened. Jurassic Quest is North America's largest exhibition of life-size, moving, museum-quality dinosaurs. Unfortunately, a similar thing happened just as soon as the exhibition opened. A welder was working too close to the dinosaur and sparked the fire, setting the outer layer of one of the dinosaurs on fire. Thankfully, the fire department acted quickly, allowing the event to continue.
Gigantosaurus, Jurassic World Dominion. Alright, this animatronic is one of my absolute favorites on this list. Yep, I'm talking about the Gigantosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. People might gripe about the movie itself, but nobody in their right mind could deny, unless they want me to go full crazy mode. Just ask Scrumpy Lee what happens. that the practical effects and animatronics in this film are downright spectacular. In Jurassic World Dominion, the Gigantosaurus stands out as one of the franchise's biggest and most terrifying creatures. To make it look realistic and convincing, the production team blended practical and digital effects, with a special focus on creating a large-scale animatronic. This massive piece was developed by live dinosaur supervisor John Nolan and his crew. They focused primarily on the head and neck. Believe it or not, the head is the largest ever built for a Jurassic Park film. The entire structure weighed around 9 tons and was mounted on a platform that enabled realistic movements like jaw opening, eye motion, and detailed facial expressions. Challenges? Ho, only the fact that the animatronic was huge and heavy. Building a dinosaur head of this scale required precise engineering to keep it functional and safe on set. To make things even more intense, the team had about 3 months to wrap up this project. But using that giant animatronic let the actors interact with a physical version of the Gigantosaurus, boosting the believability of their performances and reactions. The portions of the dinosaur that weren't built in real life were filled in by Industrial Light and Magic, ILM, ensuring a smooth transition between practical and CGI elements. And guess what? The franchise isn't over yet. There's another movie on the horizon, this time starring Scarlett Johansson. Let's just hope they keep on using awesome animatronics for those dinos, because some of us really appreciate the magic of practical effects. Triassic Park Pliosaur. There's a dinosaur-themed botanical park in Poland, built around an old mansion, featuring a museum, various exhibits, fossil digging activities, and of course, plenty of dinosaurs. However, before we dive in, I've got to point out something that really bugs me. Their entire website uses AI-generated images. It just doesn't make sense. For one, it gives a poor impression because it doesn't show the actual attractions, which feels like false advertising. And two, they really ought to hire real human artists. It would look so much better. But enough of my rant. The main reason we're talking about this place is because there's a deep lake where a Pliosaur animatronic periodically surfaces and submerges. Seeing it emerge from the water is downright eerie. I'm not entirely sure why, but animatronics in natural settings tend to be extra creepy. This reptile is sure to scare plenty of visitors, though I was even more spooked by checking out their Dino Park website. The TRex from Toys R Us NYC. This animatronic was an absolute classic, and our New York Ducks know exactly what I'm talking about. This prehistoric creature lived inside the massive Toys R Us store in Times Square, New York City. The store opened in November of 2001 and was absolutely colossal, over 110,000 square feet. But one of the biggest standouts was the giant animatronic T-Rex. This beast measured 34 feet long and 20 feet tall, and it had super fluid movements, especially in the neck and eyes. It even moved its tiny arms and let out huge roars that echoed throughout the store. The dinosaur was part of a themed Jurassic Park section. The iconic gates from the movie were there too. Now, we couldn't find official confirmation of who built it, but there are 2 main rumors. One says that it was a direct donation from Steven Spielberg himself. The other theory claims it was built by the company Life Formations, but again, nothing is confirmed. What is true is that this animatronic dinosaur was majestic and an absolute joy to watch every time you visited the store. But like everything in life, nothing lasts forever. And sadly, our dino friend met extinction on December 30th, 2015. Just before New Year's Eve. Why? Because the rent for that space skyrocketed to an insane $2,000 per square foot, making the store's operation completely unsustainable. So, after 14 years, our old friend became extinct. Have you ever heard of this dinosaur, or were you one of the lucky ones who got to see it in person? Let us know. Aliramis, Dinosaur Ride. Speaking of animals eating other animals, we've arrived at one of the most terrifying animatronics in all of Disney parks. It's located in the ironically soon-to-be extinct dinosaur ride at Animal Kingdom. Now, you might think I'm talking about the infamous Carnotaurus, but you'd be wrong. There's an even more grotesque scene featuring the Aliramis. In this part of the ride, from our vehicle, we witnessed the Aliramis attacking a smaller dinosaur, specifically a Brachychampsa, a prehistoric crocodile-like creature. This scene is designed to convey the chaotic and brutal nature of life in the moments leading up to the extinction of the dinosaurs. The movements of the animatronic, combined with the lighting and the horrific sound it makes while devouring the poor reptile, create a truly grotesque experience. Just listen to that sound and tell us it isn't unsettling. Recently, it was reported that this animatronic is no longer visible in the ride, replaced by some bushes. Maybe it's under repair, or perhaps it's been retired as the ride is set to close soon to make way for a new Indiana Jones attraction, part of the much-needed update to Dinoland USA. While it's sad to see this ride go, and I know some of you may not agree, I have to say, Dinoland USA deserved to go extinct. Good riddance. Elasmosaurus and Mosasaurus, SeaWorld, Ohio. Now we head to the long-gone SeaWorld Park in Cleveland, Ohio. In the late 90s, SeaWorld teamed up with Dynamation, experts in creating prehistoric creatures, to present an animatronic exhibit called Monster Mash. This exhibit featured all kinds of dinosaurs and ancient reptiles, but the stars of the show were a massive Elasmosaurus and this incredible Mosasaurus. The most amazing, or terrifying part, these animatronics were actually semi-submerged in real water. In this scene, the Mosasaurus would thrash its tail and open its gigantic mouth full of blade-like teeth, lurking like an eternal predator from forgotten seas. Right beside it, with almost ghostly elegance, the Elasmosaurus slowly lifted its never-ending neck, moving its flippers like it was still swimming in the Cretaceous Ocean. Every roar, every movement was carefully designed by Dynamation. The whole setup looked fantastic. Sadly, it was one of the last exhibits before the park closed in 2000 and was later bought by Six Flags. But what happened to the figures? Well, according to my friends over on the Submerged Animatronics subreddit, they're actually for sale on eBay for $6,000. And honestly, their current state is nightmare fuel. They're completely worn out and abandoned. Just look at the photos. The scariest one to me is the Elasmosaurus. And don't call me a hypocrite, I know I have an exposed neck too, but this guy really takes it to another level. In honor of that ridiculous neck, I'm naming him Walter II, and the Mosasaurus, I'm calling him Roy because they totally look like brothers. So, would you adopt them? It's just a modest $6,000.